So now that we know how to start and stop a sound in Unreal, we wanted to change parameters that affect the sound. To do so, you need to have something in Fmod that works. In Fmod, we want to apply an effect, and in this case, I just use the multiband EQ parametric, the multiband parametric EQ. We want to look at two types of parameter, the switch parameter and the continuous parameter. So let's build one. I already added in the master track my EQ effect. Here I have one song, the song that we used to play before, and here I'm adding another song, and I will add a new loop region for it to use with the switch, because I can go from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 0. So let's build a parameter for that. To build a parameter for that, I'm adding a parameter sheet, and I select new parameter, and here I want to choose first a discrete parameter. The discrete parameter allows you, we can call it switch, allows you to have different states, and in this case I just want to have two states, the 0 and the 1. Make note that this is a local parameter, so it is related only to this event. If I don't look at the timeline with the music, but just the switch parameter sheet, I can see that I have two states, the 0 and the 1, and when I click on those two states, the corresponding parameter viewer changes in color. But this functionality is not yet applied to the tracks. Although this is a topic that you will discuss and develop more when you study the music and music transition and adaptive music, we can use it here just to simplify how to do a parameter. So in the logic track, which is above the audio tracks, is basically the one where the loop region already sits on. You can add another item, which is a transition region, and if you click and drag, it expands the logic tracks, and I can put it all the way through there. And I do the same to this one. What's a transition region? It's basically a monitoring system that when the game is triggered and something is playing, it monitors if something has changed in the game, and if so, then it will do an action. If I click on it, you see that it's pretty empty now, and that tells you that we haven't set yet a condition, and the condition obviously will be our parameter, and we will attach in a minute. But before doing that, we need another item there, which is the destination marker, and I add one for the first song and one for the second song, and I try to be kind of clean in this to put them all on the same line and not fuzzing around. The marker can also be renamed, and it's good to, it's more for you than for anyone else. When you have a lot of songs, it gets very complicated, so it's good to have a clear naming. In this case, we can just leave A and B. So the case scenario is that when I'm playing this music, I want a switch parameter that can tell it to go this way. So how do I tell that when the switch is 1, I want this to go? In the condition of that transition, so clicking on the green, you add a condition there. You can add a parameter condition, and I'm obviously using the switch parameter that I just created. This opens up, I'm moving a little bit here, this opens up this condition here, which says 0 and 1, and it cannot be the case because we only want to cover the case of 1, not 0 and not both. So for the moment 1. And what happens when the condition is 1 of that parameter switch? I want it to go to this destination, which is marker B. There are other elements here, which is quantization or offset, etc. We don't care about it now. We just wanted to switch to learn how to do the parameter in Unreal. Logically, on the other one, I need to do the reverse. So I add a parameter condition, I add a switch, and of course this will be not 1 but 0, and the destination will be marker A. In this case, when I press play and I change the parameter, this will go to the other song, and if I change the parameter again, it will go back there. It just goes back straight with no transitions. It goes back to the beginning, not relatively. We don't care about now. We care that it switched and it worked. So once this is done, then we want to build it to go to Unreal. But the next thing that we want is so that we can then work directly in Unreal without coming back to Fmod again, we want to create another parameter, so we go another parameter, see, new parameter, which we call it continuous change, just to remember us, and it's a continuous parameter, and the range we can still leave it between 0 and 1. Obviously it will be a decimal 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, all the way till 0.999 or 1. Again, it's a local parameter, press OK. What shall we apply this to? But we right click on the parameter, on the effect, the parameter that we want to change. We add an automation, and the automation will open this thing here, which is directly and solely connected with the frequency there of the EQ, which if you leave it like that, it will sound normal. But if I add a curve, and to do the curve I used my continuous change, that basically it will be at the top of the frequency range when the parameter is 0, but when the parameter increases, then I will go to a complete low pass filter. And the state of the parameter, you can see it here. So if I start moving this, you can see that moving the parameter will move also the EQ effect over there. So now we got it, because now we have two different type of parameters that we just want to see how to put it into Unreal. So I build, remember that you always have to build even if it's just a parameter. And now I'm going to go into Unreal. The only thing to remember is that the name and how it is spelled is very important. So in Unreal we want to go into the level blueprint, and in the level blueprint we can see our previous work where we start and stop a sound. And if you remember, we have this thing which was the reference to the fmod event object, and that is a very important thing for us, and we want to also use it in this case. So to be able to do this, I will discard for the moment this object, and I will work maybe in this area where I just my game starts at the beginning. So I'm gonna go right there, right here. That I would like to have a trigger box. So let's say a trigger box that I locate around here. And again, to be able to see in this type of environment is best that if I go and look at thickness and put it at even 2 here is important, and then I'm gonna press the button R and try to adjust its size, its vertical size, like that, and I press W to move it around again, like this. So let's say that I position just here on the grass. Let me double check that is actually on the grass, and it's not. So I'm gonna go a little bit down like this, and that should do. Yeah. And I just wanted to use it when I cross it. I will trigger the switch. So switch in between the two songs, and then so this one is let's call it parameter, and then switch music. This parameter, this trigger box, I can use it many times. And by the way, I also want to leave the option that is visible in the game, so it will make it easier for us later. No, so make sure that it's not hidden. So let's say that when I cross there, I will be able to switch the song that is already playing. So to make it play, I add again the same sound, but I will add it here. The other one is not playing anyways because I'm not crossing the bridge, so it's fine. That's my sound in 2D. So now I will want to refer to this sound here when I am changing the parameter, and not to the one on the bridge. Then the next thing I want to do is to grab the parameter switch music and duplicate it, and the one that is duplicated, I'll put it slightly forward this way, let's say I'm gonna cover a little bit this area near before I fall into the river, and I'm gonna expand it this way like this, and then a little bit like that. I don't want to fall, so I have a kind of a space to move around. Maybe I'll make it a little wider as well, like this. Okay, I will spawn my character here. I will hear the music straight away. I will first cross this thing to change the song, and this to change the other cue. But I also want to change back to the song, so I'm gonna take my switch music and again duplicate it, but not the second one, just the first one. I just want to align through. I duplicate it, and I'm gonna place it this way, so here, here, and maybe that's okay. I can just go around like that. Let's see how it looks like and if the sound is playing. So the sound is playing. So far it looks they're all hidden, so I need to go and double check this switch. For visibility, this is hidden, this was hidden, and this was hidden, so I wanted to do it. So let's play it again and see if it's all correct. And there they are. So the first switch is here, they don't do anything right now, and then the last one is here, so it works. The first step to do is always to add the interactivities. So we need to select the first switch, which is this one here, and we want to attach the interactivity. So I open the level blueprint, and I could do it just below there. And remember, if I right click, I could see create a reference to the switch. I don't want a reference, I want a collision event. And of course I will choose the on actor begin overlap. Do I want the on actor end overlap? No, I just want this one there. If we want to do the things a little faster, then I go to the second switch, this one, and I go back to my open level blueprint. I right click and I want a collision event for that. Do I want a collision event for that? Yes. Do I want a collision exit event? Yes, I want that, and I will show you later why. The next bit will be the third parameter switch, which is this one. Then I go back to my open level blueprint, right click, and add a collision event there, just the beginning overlap. So we have this situation, we have one parameter, two parameter, three parameter. The first parameter I just want it as a trigger, so I just use it like that, and that's it. And other trigger I want, I create more of it. In fact, this is another one. Instead, this one I would like it to change the parameter to a number when I come in, and change it back to the default value when I come out of it. How do you do this? You need to do the same procedure as this one, so we can even copy and paste from here. We want to check for if the player is crossing through, and so the first passage will be this one, and it should be applicable for all of them. So other actors should be put in there, and this is the condition of that. Same way you apply for all of this. So to change this, I need the reference to the sound, which was music test 2, if you remember, is the one that is here. And this one, by the way, has to be auto activate. This one I really wanted to play. And because now I have selected it in my outliner, when I go into the blueprint and right click, I can reference to that music item. And at this stage now, the only thing I want is not to play, because it's already playing. I want to set parameter of the audio component. You always have to add, obviously, the audio component as it happened before. So when you pass the trigger, you will have the parameter trigger. But what parameter? You need to specify here. And I want the switch parameter. If you don't remember how you wrote it, it's much better to go there and copy from Fmod just to be 100,000,000% sure, and you paste it in there. And what parameter I want when it crosses there? Number 1, because is the switch. So from going from 0, I want number 1. And the alternate to this, remember that it was the other one. So we can move these two for the time being and work on the switch back that it was here. And you do exactly the same, so you can actually copy and paste this, put it down here, and so the branch system works the same, but obviously it's another trigger, is the trigger number 3, and the value is not going to be, is the same parameter, but it's not going to be 1, it's going to be 0. So in this way it will work, because it's referenced the same object, the same event Fmod, but we're changing the parameter switch in 2 different ways. So this will do for the first parameter. And then we can test this, so I can compile and save it, and then go to my village and test it. So if I go there, what am I expecting if I cross this first box? That the music changed to the other song. And there you go, each switch, then I go to the other switch here, and it goes back. If I cross again, it doesn't do anything, because it's basically designed to give me the parameter. See, if I cross it several times, it doesn't do anything, because this is only triggering the same parameter 1. Here is 0, and of course again this doesn't work, but if I press to the 1, it will work. So now let's focus on the other change, on the other parameter, and we were looking into these two. So when I cross the box, I will want to do the same procedure. Is pretty much identical, so I'm going to go right click and create a reference to that, and for that I will go again set parameter. Is basically exactly the same. This is a continuous parameter because it has a range between 0 and 1, but it is discrete the way it gets assigned. I reference the audio event, Fmod event. I create a set parameter, and again I connect it to that, and this will make us finish the task. Here I need to make sure that I copy exactly the name of the parameter. So I go edit the parameter, and I copy it, and I cancel it here, and then I go there, make sure to select the whole thing, and then press V. When I cross it the first time, I want to set it 0.9, 0.7, so quite hard. Then when I go and exit the box, I would like it to go back to 0, or let's say, yeah, 0.0. Now if I compile this and I save the thing, and then I go to the map, and then I press play and try it, turn the song, see, immediately goes there, and then when I go out, it goes back. And I can even apply it to this song, but it's better to the other one. So how to make it smoother? That's a job to be done in Fmod. In a continuous parameter, you can right click and add modulation on the parameter itself. So if you go down there, the modulation is the seek parameter. The seek parameter tells how long would it take in seconds to switch between one state to the other, and you can tell it from here. Let's say that I want to play this one, it's much easier. Do you see the orange bit, how long it takes to arrive there? And that's a kind of a nice smooth change. If I increase it, it will take longer, obviously. So if we leave this and we do the build for all platforms, etc., you press play, and let's test it. So basically it is like kind of a switch, but it has this kind of a sick thing going on that it's interesting. But what you can do is that you don't have to stick to 0 and 1 values. You can always having different ones that reach a different value each time. One last example is to show you the truly continuous parameter. To do so, I need to go into my music test 2 and deactivate it for the moment, so I don't want it to start, so that even when I press play and I go through the parameter, it changes the parameter, but it doesn't do any sound because I don't want it to play. And I want to demonstrate to you another one. Let's say that I'm gonna put another sound, the same sound, right here. The way that you set the parameter is the following. In Fmod, we can simply add to the volume here a parameter. And we want a new parameter, and we wanted to get the distance, maybe the normalized one. And let's call this distance character, doesn't matter. The range is prefixed because I chose the normalized one, and I put it there in my track. And what do I use it for? To control the volume of my event. So I add an automation, and this automation here responds to the curve designed by the distance. The further the distance, the less the volume of my track. Then I simply have to build the parameter, and now you know that further I am away from this point, the less I will hear the sound. So if I press play, I don't even hear it now, but if I turn and walk towards it, now I start to hear it. And if I go this way, so that's all.